Theology fucking Friday. and I'm Derrick Day. I'm joined by my man on the right.
Aaron Tomlinson.
Yeah.
And our special guest.
Ben Urban. That's right. Ben fucking Urban is joining us tonight. the man with the world's greatest hair.
Oh, well, thank you.
For sure.
That's what I say. And what's amazing is that your sons have that great hair too. You're gonna have you guys are gonna have your hands full.
Well, Beth has great hair too, so this is just the way it was gonna work out.
Okay.
The other way.
So before we get started, let's everybody talk about what you're drinking. I'm drinking Uncle Nearest bourbon, and there's a little bit of history behind this because this is made by the family of the freed enslaved African who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. So his family, they got basically there was this big thing where the family of Jack Daniels said, hey, we owe all the weed that we have to this guy, and they helped them get set up. And so they have a distillery and it's awesome. So it's black ass bourbon.
All right.
So Aaron,
yeah. So I have an old fashioned too, Derrick, but mine was pre-made.
Well, I have to admit, I cheated. I used the proof old fashioned mix.
Mine even has the bourbon in it, so I have no clue what's in it. But let's see. I haven't taste tested it yet. The guy at the liquor store said it was good. Yeah, it's not bad. I think I can make a better one, but it's not bad.
Okay.
I'm having Duplan Wineries Hatteras Red. It's a sweet muscadine wine. It's right from here in North Carolina. It's one of their local wines, and it's very good. It's very sweet, very good.
Sounds good.
Very red.
I don't like sweet wine though. I got to be honest. Sweet wine makes me Ben, you and I just are not on the same vibe when it comes to alcohol. You like the stuff that makes me sick. Like I have sweet wine, I want to puke. I have IPAs or certain craft beers, and I'm just like, ugh. Like it's the true story. If I go to a restaurant and have a craft beer or something that I haven't had before, I have to have them bring me a sample, and I can tell within the first 2 minutes if I'm going to be able to drink that beer or if I'm going to spend the rest of the dinner in their bathroom.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, Aaron.
I know. What's wrong with you, Ben? Come on, man.
We got to teach Ben how to drink like the grown-ups.
I'm very versatile.
That's okay. We got to get some in before you start making old age jokes there, Ben.
Yeah. It's coming, but that's okay. Listen, enjoy your youth while you have it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
It's like one day you wake up and you're 50 and you're like, holy fuck, what just happened here?
I don't know what hurts worse. My body sometimes, or the fact my emotions, because I'm getting AARP shit in the mail.
You know what? I'll admit, I'm just going to go ahead and admit it. I went ahead and signed up for the membership just for the discounts.
Oh, hell yes. You think I'm not going to? I'm going to go get therapy right after, but I'm going to do it.
So Ben, you are basically in the driver's seat tonight, and Aaron and I are riding shotgun. And one little interesting bit of trivia, and I encourage you guys to go and look this up, because if you look at the way we appear on the screen, it would be like the seating position of a car that's called the Mclaren F1, which, in my opinion, the Mclaren F1 is the single greatest automobile ever created, ever. And what makes it special is that it's not a two-seater, it's a three-seater. With the driver sitting in the Formula One position down in the middle. Wow, so Ben, sweet. You are in the driver's seat of the Mclaren F1.
Well, I have a feeling this will be like the first fun fact of many tonight, Derrick, that you drop on us this knowledge that we didn't know about, but now we do.
I'm full of useless, worthless trivia.
No, dude, I'm gonna be a car guy before this is all over. I'm gonna be able to hold my own with the best of them.
Hold on, Sandra Wheatley is having a red blend by Menage a Trois, and I actually have some Menage a Trois. And Aaron, I think you've had some before.
Oh yeah.
So that's episode appropriate, Sandra.
Yes.
We appreciate that.
Yeah,
I think I've had that one too.
That's a good point.
Because this is a Menage a Bro or something.
The only one I will ever participate in. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see either one of you guys naked at any time in my life.
I got to tell you a story. I got to tell a story real quick. So one of the places I would go when I was in ministry was Russia. And apparently going to the bathhouse in Russia is a real bonding time for the men. Mm-hmm. And they hang out naked while somebody beats you with a straw broom.
It's all throughout Eastern Europe, by the way. Just so you know.
To each his own, I guess.
They were bound and determined to get me into one of these bathhouses. I'm just like, no. It was either that or eat a dog, because I went to Far East Russia, so it's close to China and Vietnam and stuff. And so they eat dog there. And I would tell them, look, guys, don't even sneak it into my plate, because my wife will divorce me quicker for eating a dog than any other sin I might commit in this life.
Well, let me tell you this true story. There are certain restaurants on the East Coast, and I can't say exactly where, but if you go in and you order off the menu and order fragrant meat, that's what you'll get.
Wow.
Of course they can't put it on the menu. Right. But if you want fragrant meat.
Yeah. So between the dog and the bathhouse, I wasn't liking Russia.
Scarred for life, right?
You know what? One other funny story before we get started. So my first time there, I'm at this hotel, and for people that don't know, I mean, especially Far East Russia, I don't know about like other parts of Russia, Moscow and whatever, but it's a developing nation. And I'm staying in this hotel, and the toilet is running all night. And so I've already got jet lag. I'm tired. I got a meeting the next morning. So I'm trying to get to sleep, and this toilet keeps running. So I get up in the middle of the night, and I shut that door to the toilet. Well, what I didn't know was that it locked. You know how your hotel room just locks when you close it? Well, the bathroom does the same thing. So I woke up at like 3:00, and I had to go, and it wasn't the kind you could put in a Gatorade bottle.
Oh man.
And I'm like, shit, this thing's locked. What am I going to do? And it's not like when you go to Europe where everybody speaks English, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, I'm trying my driver's license. I'm trying to pick it with like my credit card and shit. And it's not working. So finally I'm like, I got to do something. I got to do something. So I went down to the lobby, and the front desk is closed, and there literally is this Russian security guard that's sitting there sleeping, and I had to wake him up. And as an American, we're not, celebrated. Yeah. And so I used Google Translate to say that what I had to do, and so I type it into Google Translate, and I hand him my iPad. He has to wake up like the owner or something.
Oh my
God. And she comes up, and she's this big, like typical Russian babushka lady, right? And she pulls out this box of keys, and she's sorting through this box of keys, trying them in my door, and she is cursing me in Russian. I have no idea what she's saying, but I can tell she is cursing me in Russian and trying these different keys. And then meanwhile, I gotta go. So moral to the story, when you go to a foreign country, make sure you check the bathroom door before you close it.
Oh, and one other thing, while in Russia, see, you could have the gesture in many other foreign countries would be just to grab your junk and put your knees together, right? But if you grab your junk in Russia, that's like a major insult.
Wow.
Somebody's going to whoop your ass. if you do
Oh
that.
God, yeah, yeah, that would have been fun. They were already pissed at me. That would have been fun. So in Africa, in Kenya, the bathroom where you bathe and where you do your elimination are two totally separate places, and they follow the British. They call the what we would call the bathroom, they call the water closet.
Mm.
And so I had this friend over there that was Kenyan to the bone. I mean, he was Kenyan. And he had an American come over and he was asking for the bathroom. So they take him into this room that has like a tub and a little thing sticking out. Like, it's not like a spray thing like we'd have, like a little thing sticking out for a shower. And he's looking at it, he's confused. He doesn't know how to use it.
Oh my God.
He doesn't know how to use it. So finally he's like, no, I need the bathroom. And my friend's like, this is the bathroom. So the guy bends down and like grunts like he's constipated. So they can take him to the water closet. Anyway, okay, enough of my goofy stories.
All right. So now that we've gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, Ben, please take the driver's
Please.
controls and let's lead this puppy. Let's go, man.
Okay. Well, tonight our topic is on syncretism, which may not be a really familiar word for a lot of people. If you spent any amount of time in a fundamentalist Christian community for any amount of time, you probably hear it kicked around every once in a while, or if you've heard enough theologians, they bring it up. It's not usually used in a positive manner. It's kind of a pejorative. If somebody's syncretic, they're not a fan, they're not a friend of the church, basically. And I don't know how much mileage I'm going to get out of this topic, but it's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Am I coming through? I don't hear Derrick.
I don't hear Derrick either. And I look
He's
frozen
back
on my
at it.
screen, so I don't know.
Okay, I was muted. But I want to do this just to level set, right? Because I looked this up. I had to look this up, and I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I'm a wordsmith. I love words. I like words like little electronic parts or little mechanical parts. But syncretism was a word that I did not know. I was this year old when I learned this. So here's the definition. According to dictionary.com, it is the amalgamation or attempted amalgamation of different religions, cultures, or schools of thought. And the example given is interfaith dialogue can easily slip into syncretism.
See, they used it in a negative sense there.
Yeah, even the dictionary calls it a pejorative. It's like a very polite way of saying fuck. Oh no.
So anyway, the reason that this topic is our topic for tonight was because Derrick kind of laid it on me last week when it was mentioned that I would be on tonight, and I was going to be the topic, the person who would.
Yeah, you got to pick it.
So this past week, with my posts, I always write ahead. Most of the time, it's usually like days in advance. I can write a bunch of different posts in a row, and then just put out one each day. When I get really inspired, that happens. I just keep writing, and I'm able to get like a whole week's worth of stuff. And I just was really on this topic. Just syncretism really stood out to me. And I just thought about how much it's seen in a negative sense when you grow up in a religious community, like a hyper religious community, or you just spend any amount of time on like a heavy theological level, like if you go to seminary or like a Bible school or anything like that. I mean, especially the more fundamentalist it is, the more you're going to hear about it. Because obviously they use it as a pejorative because they want to make you feel bad for ever wanting to connect ideas from other belief systems, any other kinds of schools of thought that don't match up with their idea. And I think a lot of people that I've gained a following, with my posts. I think a lot of my readers don't really know about me is that I didn't actually grow up in a hardcore Christian home. Our house was more like a nominal, more cultural, at most, Christian home. I went to a Lutheran church when I was young. My dad was Catholic. My mom was Presbyterian, and they found Lutheranism as their kind of middle ground. So I just grew up in a Catholic church, but I shouldn't even say it like that. Grew up in a Catholic church because we'd go on the weekend, and that was it. Like there was no Bible study at home. There was no, you need to go out there and proselytize to your friends, or they wouldn't say proselytize, evangelize. So for me, I mean, it was never like a heavily religious home. So there was never all that like shelter or indoctrination or anything like that. Like really, we got to drive this home. You got to believe this way and no other way. So I've never really, experienced much of that. So I didn't really come to the Christian faith, like really, and make a decision for Christ until my late 20s. Me and Beth had gotten together already at this point, and we kind of found it together. We started going to church together. We ended up starting at a Methodist church because we liked the community over there. Mm-hmm. And they weren't hardcore. I mean, they were your typical, typical like good meaning Christians, nice people, friendly, very much into the whole community aspect of it. But there wasn't like a heavy, like, you got to understand the doctrine. You got to sign a statement of faith to be in the church or anything like that. So my early years in Christianity were not really, Beth and I didn't really see the dark side or the more stringent side of it until I went to seminary. And
so you guys started off on the Coors Light of Christianity then, right?
Basically, yeah. Like we were watching all those, Christian movies that are just like made it all just seem so wonderful all the time. And they're always the good guys. It's the atheists or the other religions that are, you gotta watch out and everything. But like it was always just in a nice way, like, this warm message and all the stories. So I remember, like, once I was in, like a year in to our Christianity, into our faith, I started thinking that I was going to be a pastor. Like I just started getting this impression that I was called, and everybody, was telling me, oh man, you'd be really great at that because you're a great communicator. You'd like to listen to people and let them share about themselves. And, you're just easy to like confide to because you're not a judgmental person. You're very open. So like, I always got the impression like this is going to be good. I mean, okay, that sounds like something I could get into, maybe I am being called. So we went to our pastor at the time and I told him what was going on right away. He's like, oh yes, that's what's happening. And I basically became his project. Okay. The next year or two. He said, well, you gotta go get a ministry degree. You can go to seminary if you want, but that's probably the best thing. But you don't have to. But then, of course, when I heard that, I was like, well, I guess I got to do the whole thing. So went into an interdenominational college to get my bachelor's in Christian ministry. And of course, this school too was very open because they were interdenominational, so they weren't like focused on any one hardcore line of thinking, even to that degree. Which early on, that should have kind of because they were more open. That showed like how much it doesn't have to be so intense because these people were good people. They believed in this stuff, but they weren't like diehard, hell mongering people who scared the hell out of you every time they talked to you. So through all that, it all seemed like, man, I'm on a trajectory for something great. I mean, I never was a religious person growing up. I was very lukewarm spiritual at best growing up. Just I didn't really think about all that kind of stuff. But now it's like I found this passion in myself, and this is what I'm supposed to do. But because I have this past where I didn't grow up religious. I wasn't indoctrinated from a young age. I wasn't in that kind of community for my formative years. I just thought, okay, I can do this. I'm like almost on, not like, because I was putting my own cultural experiences into what I was learning in this. I mean, this school that I was at was not by any means a liberal Christian school, but I mean, they were definitely more open than the more fundamentalist conservative ones. So I just felt like, okay, I'm really on a roll here. This is great. I think for me, what happened was because we found out that we were looking for, economically choice seminaries because we didn't have all the money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked into them and we found out that if you're Southern Baptist, you get half off your tuition right there. If you belong to a Southern Baptist church for a year at least,
You poor guy.
you immediately get half off your tuition. I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer. This is an economic decision. So right off the bat, I knew it was like, okay, I'm not planning to be Southern Baptist now, but because even at that point I had heard like
that's how they rope you in, son.
Right. They're the ones that okay. But I thought, okay, well, I'm not gonna eat it all up. I'm just gonna go patient. It's gonna be fine. Kept being warned by people, and it's like, it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. I got this. So Beth and I get into. I'm kind of just doing the speed version of this. I don't want to take up too much time on this, but we got to seminary. And like within a week, I think not even a week went by, and I had posted something on social media. It was an article by Philip Yancey or somebody that was in his camp, right? And not even 5 minutes went by, and somebody sent me a private message that I had already gotten to know on campus within that first week. I think it was actually somebody I already knew, or it was just somebody in the community, in the Baptist community, who like wrote to me and said, and this is the thing about this. The guy right away just said, you shouldn't be listening to him. Philip Yancey's an open theist. And of course, at that point, I had never even heard of open theist. I was like, what is
I didn't know that.
What does open theist mean? What? So I had gotten into Yancey through one of my professors at the interdenominational school that I had been at. And I messaged him. I was like, I was just accused of liking an open theist. What's going on here? What's this guy?
So you were accused of syncretism early.
Right. And I was there for a week. I didn't even know. And I just figured, like, I didn't realize that there was so much battling between denominations and like Christian on Christian violence, I mean, I thought this is weird. I mean, I know that other religions don't always get along with each other, but I didn't know that at this point. I didn't realize, well, the Christians are even battling each other and backbiting. And I messaged him, and he told me, yeah, you just happen to be going to a school where they're definitely more on the legalist end, and Yancey is, for whatever reason, considered like a liberal Christian or whatever. And I never really got the impression of that. But the funny thing about it was this article wasn't even about like theology. I don't think theology was even mentioned throughout the article. It was about like an outreach program or something good for the community, something good for society. And this guy, instead of like looking at the positive thing, right away he's all like, you don't even need to be listening to this guy. He's an open theist. That's dangerous.
Oh my God.
Dangerous. And that was the first of like for the next 4 years, all the bullshit that I started like hearing, because like, I was really on the trajectory to be a pastor, and I was excited about it. But like as the years were going by, with like every week something was happening, something was going on. something was being said, like we're hearing of seminars being done on campus, like weekend-long seminars for how to evangelize LGBTQ people. Like it takes a whole weekend just evangelize them specifically. Like I remember being in our Sunday school, like not Sunday school, but like our small groups, and they'd be talking about something that I didn't really understand or agree with. So I would bring it up. I was very vocal throughout my time in seminary. I really did not ever get on board with a lot of it. I'd be asking my professors questions that were like the controversial off the cuff questions, and they would. I mean, sometimes they would just ignore me, which is blowing me off because they didn't know how to answer it. And I mean, I know this. I'm kind of just speeding through this, but it really comes down to it that for me, I think one of the first signs, like after I started having my dark night of the soul, as I call it, it lasted for like a year and a half at least, where everything felt like it was going through the motions, and I just didn't even want to be there. Beth didn't want to be there, but she wasn't really talking to me about it. I mean, we talked about like how we both didn't really want to. Church became a chore because we were there for like 3 hours every Sunday, and then on top of that, like going to chapel at the seminary, which I stopped doing like halfway through my time there. All the courses started getting to the point where I was getting pissed off at everything I was learning because I'm like, doesn't sound like
you were an apostate, son.
And I didn't know what to do about it. Because like, okay, I was on a good trajectory, and now I'm starting to feel like, am I even in this anymore? I was looking into other faith backgrounds and stuff, just like dabbling, looking at stuff and talk, And I remember, I think after I graduated, because I was like, okay, all I have to do now is graduate, and then I can do whatever I want. I can come out about this stuff and, feel free to talk to whoever I want about it. Mm-hmm. But at that time I was like, okay, I just got to go through the motions. I just got to keep getting my assignments done, doing everything I need to do and graduate and get the degree. A month before I finished up, Beth, I come across Beth like dabbling in her witchcraft stuff. And I didn't even know because I had been so focused on.
Damn, and they were worried about open theology.
Right. So I was like, oh my God, And of course, my first reaction when I found out was like, you cannot tell anybody about this. And of course, that was not the right move. And I look back now and I know that. And I knew it in that moment. I was like, what have I become? I'm telling my wife what she can and cannot. Because I was afraid, like, oh, they're going to find out and they're not going to let me graduate. And I'm just, I've wasted all these 4+ years because of the time I was in the interdenominational school. That like, I just couldn't deal with like the very narrow-minded way of looking at everything. I had these ideas already starting to boil in me of like not boil, but just raising up within me that was like questioning this stuff. Like, how is this moral? How is this right? How,
yep.
How is this a good God? How is this a good God? How does this stuff in the Bible make sense? They say it's inerrant, but this stuff is like, it's just wrong. It's like, I'm hoping this
fucked up.
I hope this is just human beings like, who don't know any better writing this stuff down and saying it's God. And the open theism thing just carried with me. Let
me jump in here real quick, because before you go too far down the path, I want to say that your wife is the reason. She is the reason that I learned to accept Wicca.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
That's
she
cool.
is the reason because she would post something occasionally and she would talk about it in a very light way, but I was listening, I was paying attention, and I'm going to tell you that the things that she said, and because I was able to tie these things to someone, and at that point I didn't know Beth well. I knew you pretty well, Ben, but I didn't know Beth very well. But because she was tied to you and because she was saying what she was saying, I began to assign some very, some sincere gravitas to that. and she helped liberate me, literally. So I'm
wow.
That's awesome, Derrick. She's right back here. She heard all of that, so she's beaming. But
she's one of my heroes. I'm just put it out.
She's
there.
one of mine
as are you. But
well, thank you. And
but I say all that because Aaron looks like he's got something he wants to say.
Well, you know what's funny, Derrick, is and correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but I think we connected through Katie Valentine's Facebook page. Who's on the Heretic?
I was just about to get there too, Aaron.
Oh, okay, yeah. Who's on the Heretic Happy Hour with Derrick? So
yeah,
it's just funny how these things work. So
just all the synchronicity and just bringing people together. But it was going back. I mean, literally, like maybe I don't know. I think a few days had gone by after I'd kind of had my outburst with her because of the whole like being afraid, and she understood, like she knew where I was coming from, but it did kind of hurt her feelings and. Just was like, and I was like, why didn't you tell me about this? And she's like, well, I knew, what you were going through, and I didn't know how to bring it to you because I know what path you're on. I didn't know, but she didn't realize all that I was going through and thinking like, this isn't the path I'm supposed to be on. So of course I said, well, why don't you show me some of this? I want to be part of this. I'm your husband. I want to be a part of this. I'm not gonna judge you or anything because I'm not that way, and I'm having my own issues with this world that we're currently dealing with. So she started showing me. She did a reading for me, and it was incredible. It was like just opened my eyes, opened like everything. Like I just felt like, how could she be so accurate with this stuff? How can this, just the cards are like lining up with like where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And she just her like her intuition and her representation or interpretation of what she gauges from them just by looking at them for a second. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is amazing. My wife is a psychic. This isn't bullshit. She really knows what she's talking about. And I'm not gonna stop her from doing this. This is wonderful. She's like showing me real spiritual stuff here. I've been dealing with all this like mental gymnastics, trying to figure out how all this Bible stuff works. And I'm seeing like real supernatural stuff like right here in my own home. So I just remember being like, okay, I'm definitely not gonna take this away from her or even attempt to, because I know I can't. Even if I wanted to, she wouldn't have been like, no, fuck you. So she still kept it out of respect for me, so I could finish seminary, finish and get my degree. She kept it kind of on the down low. Well, it's crazy because I don't know, literally like a week later, somebody had come across her stuff. I don't know, through social media or whatever. And this person, who apparently was another congregant of the church we were attending at the time, Southern Baptist Church, that we were attending at the time, went to the leaders and basically told on her, like we're all in kindergarten or something. So I get a call, of course, because they only deal through the males. They won't speak to the women specifically or straight ahead. They say, you deal with your wife kind of thing, without not those words, but they basically put it out there like, you need to do something about this. Yeah. We've heard reports really of your wife practicing tarot, and they don't even know what tarot is, but they're afraid of it. So they say, is there any
wait. If they were truly godly, they would have discerned it.
No, Derrick, that's us Pentecostals, dude. We're talking Southern Baptists.
It would have been to the prophetic.
They're more along the lines of when they corner Paul in the book of Acts. We've heard reports that you teach people to violate the traditions of the fathers. Because remember, with Southern Baptists, all that passed away.
Right. True that. Yeah. Cessationism.
Cessation of the spirit or something.
Derrick and I are tongue-talking Pentecostals.
So Shabada, Honda mosquito kickstand.
So basically, when I received this call, they told me,
Sorry, man.
like, we need to talk to you. Can you call us? And so Beth and I both got on the phone with them, speakerphone, explained our side, what was going on. First thing when I got on the phone, though, before any of that, I just said, first I want to just get this out of the way. If this person was so concerned about my wife and her eternal soul, then why didn't she come to my wife specifically, privately, and talk to her first? Isn't that the way church discipline's supposed to go anyway?
Yeah,
where
that's good.
You're supposed to talk to the person first. Like one person goes to another person, says, "Hey, you're transgressing, whatever."
But the husband.
And then if everything changes, it doesn't go from there. If the person confesses and says,
but Ben, you're saying person. So you're the head.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, you got your pronouns all mixed up,
Derrick,
son.
Derrick, black people were what? 2/3 of a person or something. So
Yeah, 3/5. 3/5.
Yeah, 3/5. I don't know where women fit into that, but obviously they're not people. So
yeah, women are a little bit more than 3/5. They're probably like 2/3.
Right.
Yes.
So long story short, though, we explained what was going on. We even offered, like, would you like to see what she does? Like, just to, like, kind of like calling their bluff, because I mean, I know they weren't bluffing, but I was like, this is kind of funny that this is actually happening. We're under investigation by the church.
Oh, shit.
So
dang, dude.
They said, like, we want you to come in so we can, read with you pieces of scripture, so we can help you read through the Bible with you, so you can see where you guys are off.
Your spiritual credit score just dropped.
Right. And I'm thinking, like, okay, you don't even know us very well. You don't even know what she's doing exactly. It doesn't say anywhere in the scriptures that you can't use tarot cards. And I think early on, Aaron, you'd even done a live on this a long time ago, or it was back when we were still doing Sunday mornings at the Awakening Center. I think you even had a message on this about how, like, it actually started in the church. These cards started in the church.
Yes, they did. But that's a topic for another day.
So we basically got to the point where we just said, okay, this is ridiculous. At this point, I had already finished seminary. I had graduated. So it was actually like a month or so after I'd found out that she was into tarot and into just witch stuff in general. And I was like, okay, I'm out. They can't take this away from me now. They can't take my degree. I'm miserable. I'm not happy in this anymore. Before that, there was an incident before that, like maybe a couple of weeks before that, where one of our friends from the seminary, another student and his wife and kids, he had messaged me because Beth had posted a video on Facebook about it was an episode of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy or some, where they visited this Christian woman who was a preacher at her church in some small town in Georgia, and she was just like this really sweet woman. She was the most loving person. Her son was gay, and she didn't act any different around him or any of the guys when they came on came to her house to, like, do whatever they do on their Queer Eye. I've never really watched the show except for that episode, but I remember being like, wow, that's a really beautiful message. Like, it's a lot of positive, like, loving no matter what, being unconditional love. Isn't that how God is? Not even like a half hour after she had posted, like, the link about that, or she posted about, like, how wonderful it was for a change to see something, Christians being like that. And this guy was like, it says in the scriptures that homosexuality is, well, you know what it says.
Dude, open theology.
Oh, but wait. We're not under law. We're under grace.
Witchcraft.
Except when it comes to sexuality.
And Queer Eye.
Right.
Yeah. Why is that, Derrick?
That's
let's
a subject
Let's do an episode on why the church is fixated on other people's sexuality, because I have some.
Listen, my man David Hayward. the naked pastor did this thing that I thought was really great, right? It said, should women be allowed to preach? And it was like a flow chart. It said, do you preach with your genitals? Then no, you should not be allowed to preach. Or no, if it's no, you should be allowed to preach. But if it's yes, you shouldn't be allowed to preach. And that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It's like, it's funny how Christianity is so obsessed with sexuality.
Yes.
And they're so sexually repressive. I mean, it's like, I'll tell you something. I know some people, Baptist preachers, and when us guys, pastors, would get together, we talk about some shit, and let me just say that doggy style is kind of a recurring theme. But if you were to release that into the wild of the preaching community,
oh boy,
there would be people wanting to be
Derrick.
burned, needing to be burned at the stake because the only position sexually is missionary.
Yes,
Especially if
because
you're a
yes.
Baptist.
Okay, so for those that are familiar with Pensacola, the Pensacola revival, do you remember that, Derrick? Were
Oh
you
God,
around for that?
yes. Todd Bentley and Rodney Howard Brown.
No.
No. They
That
were
was,
all there.
It was in between that. It was in
Yeah.
between that. So Rodney Howard Brown was in the early '90s, and Todd Bentley was in like
No, but
08.
they were all down there in Pensacola. They were all.
I'm talking about Michael Brown and Steve Kilpatrick.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I jump in though? Because something that Derrick
Sure.
said kind of opened up a rabbit hole. The burn at the stake thing, like, or any kind of travesty or catastrophe that's ever happened on the basis of theology throughout history. It's always this violent death stuff. It's like, oh, somebody's a heretic, somebody's a blasphemer, somebody's an apostate, somebody is showing any kind of thinking process outside of their way. Right away, it's like, well, we got to burn them, we got to hang them, we got to.
Let me tell you something. You can come at me with that kind of bullshit if you want to, but I'm a lifelong martial artist, number one, right? So even if you do happen to beat me, you're going to walk away with a limp, right? That's number one. Number two, I own somewhere between 1 and 1,000 guns, and I have somewhere between 1 and 1 million rounds of ammunition. Play at your own risk. Roll your dice and move your mice, motherfucker. I got you.
So Ben, let me jump in. Let me jump in real quick, Ben, just for viewers, because I'm tracking with you, dude. I'm like totally in sync. So for people that don't know what open theology is and why that would be so offensive to Southern Baptists. So Southern Baptists tend to cling towards Calvinism.
Yep.
And Calvinism is based on this idea that God predestined some for salvation and for whatever reason predestined others for hell. John Wesley said that Calvin's God is worse than the devil. And open theology was sort of a new thing a few decades ago in the 20th century that said that God not only did not predestine the future, but the future is open. That's why it's called open theology, and that he didn't know the end from the beginning.
And with open theology, that there is no theological silo. In other words, every doctrine is accepted.
Yes.
Well, mostly it has to do with predestination.
Yeah.
Mostly it does.
Well,
and then built off of that is process theology, which is really crazy and fun to talk about. But that's why they're like, oh my God, anyway, people didn't know that.
Here's where I was going with that is that, like, the answer always seemed to be, at least before it became illegal to just execute people for what they think, at least in some countries. I mean, even back, in the Puritan times before that, though, like, just any time that the church came up against anybody that showed any signs of thinking outside the box, looking at God from a bigger picture, looking past God and just maybe looking in to themselves for security or an answer, they were immediately killed. Like, what is that? Like, especially if you believe that these people are going to be going and roasting in a hot ass fire
but check
for
this out.
eternity, why are you just going to kill them? Why wouldn't you take them aside and try to love them until
Hold on. You want to hear something funny? This is a great Christian history lesson for all of you Christians out there, right? Especially you Calvinists, right? Michael Servetus was a theologian in the same time as John Calvin.
Yep.
But Michael Servetus was also a surgeon, and he is the man who is credited with understanding what the vascular system did in the human body.
Science.
John Calvin lured him to Geneva.
Come on, Derrick.
With a letter.
Come on, preach, brother.
And had him executed.
Yep.
Had John Calvin, let me say this for all of you Calvinists out there.
Come on, Derrick.
John Calvin is a fucking murderer.
Yes.
And Michael Servetus is not the only person he had killed. He's just the most significant. And how much was medical science, knowledge, and technology set back because of this murderous son of a
let me
bitch?
jump in. So let me jump in. So let me bring it back to syncretism, right?
Yes.
So syncretism does not exist without orthodoxy. And orthodoxy means right doctrine. Right, doxy, teaching, right teaching.
Yeah.
So orthodoxy is a creation of the Council of Nicaea. What people don't realize, the Bible was not decided at the Council of Nicaea. What was decided at the Council of Nicaea was the rule of faith that they called the Nicene Creed. And then the scriptures were measured against the Nicene Creed to decide what counted and what didn't. If it supported what they said was the Nicene Creed, it went in the Bible. If it didn't support the Nicene Creed, it was condemned as heresy, and that's what establishes orthodoxy. So without orthodoxy, you have syncretism. Say it for me, Ben.
Syncretism.
Hardline theology
doesn't exist.
But you know what, though?
Without orthodoxy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to get at. Like all these, I watched a preacher this week, so I have to go off. I'm sorry, I just have to go off. I watched a preacher that I have an emotional attachment for.
Oh, and please use profanity as you're doing this.
Yeah, okay, I will. I promise you I will. And he had studied Gnostic texts, Rosicrucianism, the occult, things like that before he got into Christianity. And he made the statement, I knew this about him because I know him, and he made this statement, he said, I studied the heresies. Well, the heresy, like syncretism, is measured against orthodoxy, right? So why in the hell, that's my first cuss word, why in the hell do we feel obligated to Nicene Christianity and understand that the Bible was not decided at the Council of Nicaea? Everybody that says that, it just shows they really haven't done their homework. It wasn't decided at Nicaea, but what was decided was the rule of law or the rule of faith by which the books that went into the Bible would be determined. That's the nuance of it, right? And so when you think about orthodoxy, I mean, you're talking about John Calvin, but I mean, during the Crusades, people think the Crusades was only against Muslims for the battle for the Holy Land, but there was a war in France. There was an absolute full-on genocide in France against a resurgence of Gnostic Christianity in France, where they wiped out complete villages because they weren't Orthodox. So why in the fuck do we, that's my second cuss word, do we pledge allegiance to the Lord Jesus Christ, who taught, at least in some places, love your neighbor as yourself, love your enemies, and yet we pledge allegiance to the most murderous. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for, orthodoxy is one of the most murderous. When you look at the energies that are tied to that thing, you look at the murder of people that didn't agree with them.
Oh, but wait,
come on, but somehow that's the true Christianity.
But wait, as they say in the infomercials,
AD, at the Council of Nicaea to settle a conflict in the fucking Roman Empire.
But wait, as they say in the infomercials, but wait, there's more, right? because Eusebius was Constantine's bishop who presided over the Nicene Council, who locked all of the canonizers in a room until they came out with an agreement. Meanwhile, Eusebius was sleeping with the wives of the men who were locked in the room.
Well, let's don't talk about Martin Luther. Okay, wait. So you know the vow. So Ben, this is going off the rails, Ben. This is going off the rails.
Okay.
I want you to finish your story, but you
but
talk
wait a
about being
second,
Catholic.
Ben. I told you that we got booze and profanity. That's what this show is about.
Wait.
And
profanity. Sex. Wait. Now we're going to bring in sex because Catholic priests take a vow of chastity. Do you know why? Do you know why Catholic priests take a vow of chastity? This is
I can't wait.
Open for anybody that Googles it. It has absolutely nothing to do with purity or being married to the church. Nothing. Because bishops and priests and all these people not only had multiple wives, they had concubines. That was the practice. I mean, the local priest was the local bachelor show. Like,
which is why most modern preachers have side pieces. Oh, I didn't say that.
Yeah, that's a dirty little secret we don't talk about that you and I know about. But they had multiple wives. They had concubines. This was just a thing. But as the Roman Catholic Church gained in wealth because they're paying their priests, here's the problem. This is the truth, gang. Here's the problem: that if you're married, you're having heirs. If you got multiple wives, you're having multiple heirs. If you got multiple wives and concubines, you're having multiple heirs. Yeah. Exponential heirs. Well, fuck. We don't know how. Well, like, we'll pay the priest, but now the priest wants an inheritance for their kids. And we can't have an inheritance for the kids. So no shit. The Catholic Church said, we want to grab all the wealth to ourselves. We want to centralize. We want to centralize the power. And so you guys have to take a vow of chastity, not because of your devotion to Christ or to the church, but because we don't want to share the inheritance with the kids that you have with all your multiple wives and concubines.
That's right. And not only that, men were passing their bishopric by inheritance.
Yes.
Did you say bishopric?
It was a power grab and a money grab. It was a money grab. And now we got fucking, scandals and child molesters and gay people going into the priesthood because they think, well, if I devote myself to Christ in the church, then I won't want to fuck a man. And then what do they end up doing? What do they end up doing? They end up flirting with men on airplanes. They end up sleeping with the altar boy. I mean, do you realize that there is a disease, there is a medical disease called Pope's disease because it's not good for your prostate not to have an orgasm. I had a Catholic priest tell me that he did not like to go for his prostate exam because he would orgasm during the prostate exam. All right.
Well, literally,
I'll excuse myself for a second. Hold on.
Literally, there is a sexual term called milking the prostate. Literally.
I didn't know that.
There is.
I've heard it, but I didn't know it was a sexual innuendo.
It is. I mean, basically the whole church culture is inundated, saturated with sexual repression
and regression, I think, too.
I had to go get another drink for this.
Oh boy.
I figured that was a good time. This is my moment. I can sign off.
Oh my God.
Man, this is classic. This is epic. This is epic. All right.
It is, Aaron. It is.
See, here, let me say something too, because Ben was really concerned when we said, hey, pick the topic. And Ben said, this is what's in my heart. Syncretism. And he said, I don't know how much mileage we're gonna get out of this. Oh boy, you had no fucking clue.
It's hilarious because I was thinking I was just open with a story and then we get into the topic, but it's, it's all right. I'm still working on it. Everyone wants me to continue with the story. So. But this is where he's really for this. This is when he comes in.
Oh my God, this is killing me.
So after we were threatened with church discipline, how ridiculous is that? Church discipline. We decided to just resign, and I told them, I said, we better never hear that you mentioned us in that church.
Wait.
This or anything else. We don't want you to be.
Why is Tony Cash? Why is Tony Cashat commenting about prostate milk?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta read this because this may be the classic statement.
Dude, I don't know if I can show my face on here again.
Prostate milk is good when it is made into cheese and butter. God damn.
Great. Now Ben signed off. I'm sorry, Ben. That was rude of me to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
There it is.
Oh
no, Ben just went to turn the lights on because
yeah, I was getting too
I
dark.
thought he had to go get
hey, Ben, hold on. It wasn't the lights. Basically, if you hang around with me long enough, you're gonna get blacker and blacker.
Oh.
Aaron's hair is getting curlier by the minute.
Oh boy. I'm gonna let you guys compose yourselves.
People always told me, Derrick, long before you, people told me I was a black man trapped in a white man's body.
Listen, that one time when we did a show and you got into the Baptist hoop, and I was like,
Okay, Ben, finish your story. I'm sorry for cutting you off, man.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
But still, I'm still wondering where the prostate milk came into this. But I forget it. I don't want to.
Well, no, I said something about prostate milking, right? You when you went away, Aaron, I said that the prostate milking is a thing. And so this priest who was ashamed because every time he went to have his prostate examined, he'd orgasm. That's because, this is funny, right? People always talk about anal sex and gay sex, right? And it said, okay, well, it's funny how God created the male G spot in the fucking rectum.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
All right, let's go back to Menage a Trois.
Oh boy.
Let's get back to Ben and church.
Syncretism. That's what we're talking about.
Come on now. No more prostate milk.
To Ben and church discipline.
It's like once you see something like that, prostate, cheese, and butter,
dude,
you can't unsee that.
Dude, that's just.
But hey,
Ben, tell us about church discipline in the Baptist church. Tell us about Derrick and I are Pentecostal. Tell us about church discipline in the Baptist church. We don't know about that.
It's crazy. Okay, well, basically, it is insane. They'll basically just pick a time in the middle of a service to just start laying out somebody's dirty laundry or what they consider their dirty laundry in front of the whole congregation. I think it's right after the Lord's Supper or something, and you're just really? We're supposed to be feeling good about this?
Wait. Sorry. I got sidetracked by the vomiting comments online. Wait. What? Say that again. I'm sorry, Ben, but what does the congregation have to do with this? I mean, I know because I know your story, but it's so outrageous.
It is. It's ridiculous. It's you're in the church, and honey, I turned the light on because.
Sorry, baby.
Anyway, so we.
Oh my God.
We had witnessed one where this guy's wife had walked out on him. And basically that meant she was leaving the church too. So they tried to get that worked out because they stepped in where it wasn't their business to step in between two people, whatever their issue was. It wasn't their place. But the church thinks, okay, if we find out about something that doesn't add up, and in this case, it's separation, which is going to probably lead to divorce. So we need to jump in and be the church. And our answer is to like threaten the wife that if she doesn't, you go back to her husband, leave this other guy she's with, then we'll have to expose her to the church. That's basically what church discipline is. It's exposing somebody's personal life, whatever's negative that the church is found out.
You want to hear a true story?
They're going to tell everybody about it.
This is a true story.
And embarrass the husband who wasn't even there that day, which he found out later.
Watch this. A Southern Baptist pastor who had a substantial church. I'm talking about over 1,000 members, right?
Yeah.
His wife began to have an affair with a black man. And this was unearthed, this was discovered. And rather than trying to work this out, they were trying to dismiss this pastor. They were trying to get him to resign his pastorate and to leave the Southern Baptist Convention, because not only was his wife being unfaithful, but she dared to be unfaithful with a black man. True story. True story.
Man.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Just for the record, I always say I don't mind kicking Christianity in the nuts. I don't. But when it comes to like the Southern Baptists and Calvinists, I actually enjoy it.
So Ben, finish up your story, and then I want to talk a little. I want to see us talk a little bit about what you're thinking about in regards to syncretism.
Okay.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it, Aaron. You got it.
Okay.
Bring it back, Aaron.
Anyway, like just to kind of recap real quick there about the church discipline, which is so ridiculous. It's basically the church thinking they have the right to air anybody's dirty laundry in front of the whole congregation, embarrassing them, and then basically exiling them from the church after that.
God.
What kind of love is that? What kind of Christian love is that? That's some hateful shit. That's some evil ass shit. Yes, like doing that to people, and we were just so uncomfortable. The one we witnessed. And we're just like, this is really weird. And I mean, I can't believe they did this. And like I said, the guy whose wife had walked out on him wasn't even in the church that day. So like there was nobody there to actually like be disciplined. It was basically just like gossip for the room.
Wow.
Let's just put this person, let's embarrass this guy. I mean, the wife probably didn't give a shit because she wasn't there anyway and didn't, know one way for the other. As far as I know, at this point, she was already not a believer or whatever the case. I didn't know what their situation was. But when we then were threatened with that and knowing what we had witnessed, I was like, we're just going to resign. We're going to leave the church. I graduated seminary. I don't even care anymore. I don't have any interest in being a Southern Baptist. I never did. And especially this has really proven it to me. So we're out. We started going to a Episcopalian church for a while because they're definitely more light on the hardcore theology. I mean, they believe what they believe, but they're open. They're more about social justice. They're more about like caring about people. I mean, hell, the priest that
like
we were
real
under
Christianity
was gay. He was a gay priest. I mean, that's like, you're not going to get more liberal than that. This is where we want to be while we're figuring out where we are with our. And at this point, Beth already knew she was completely out Christian wise, but she just was going to church because she liked the community over there. We found really great people. They were really nice to us, really good. At this point, I was dabbling in Universalist Christianity or Christian Universalism, however you want to say it. And this is about the time that I met Aaron, because I joined Katie Valentine's Metaphysical Christian page or group. And we were really enjoying that, because I finally found an outlet where I could just be like spewing out all of my stuff that I've been holding for all this time. I didn't have anybody to talk to because I was in Baptist Central. So I just started like laying it out, like, what kind of God is this that would do this? And what kind of God is that would do that? And Aaron just kind of came out of nowhere, out of the woodwork, and was like, I'm talking about this week. I just did a message on this at my church. You got to check this out. And of course, right away, I'm thinking, like, church, I don't know. But, you know, he's a good guy, so I'll check it out. And I was just blown away by the stuff you were talking about, just like how open you were. And it's like, he is thinking exactly like I'm thinking, but he's obviously done more homework on these subjects, on the alternative view of these subjects, where I'm just kind of like asking the questions and you had the answers. Like, I had to ask these questions. Wow. And boom, they were just coming out. And I was like, man, I started listening to you every week. I was like, this is great. I'm so glad I found this guy. And we started talking.
Yeah.
You started like connecting with my posts back when they were still scripture based, or my scripture based, like the way I was interpreting it as a deconstructing person, as somebody who was kind of outed by the church and maybe had a bone to pick. I started being very controversial, very not exactly what they love. And of course, when I was towing the line, when I was writing all the positive Christian stuff that they usually just would gush over, I never heard a word from anybody. No support, nothing. They didn't care. Whatever. The moment I start dropping some controversy,
come on, man, I can relate to that.
Oh my God, they came out like I was public enemy number one, persona non grata. Just we got to burn this heretic. We got to get dangerous ground. Dangerous.
But that goes to show how weak the system is. Like anybody that questions or like Ben, I mean, your stuff is deep and it's well thought out. It's well communicated. It is. So, you know, you become a threat at that point. So tell me, so what have you been thinking about when you're thinking about syncretism? What are you thinking about?
I definitely look at it from a positive end, you know, because for me, from my story, from what I've gauged over the last few years of deconstructing, and I love that we've been going through this journey together, because I know you've been doing a lot of deconstruction, and like your messages from just a couple of years ago and now what you're talking about are just so like, whoa, you know, and that stuff was great back then, but where you're at now is just like really just like the what are they? Any chains that may have been on you even then are completely off, and you're just like you're being you're being as most authentic as you can be, and I feel it, because I'm like I love just being free. I love writing whatever I want and feeling how I want, and not having anybody to tell me that you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful what you're thinking about, because you're actually thinking, and we don't like that, you know.
Yeah, and who decides the border? Like, and I get it. I mean, I kind of get it, because there are certain philosophical systems out there that, when you really study them out, they're somewhat intellectually inconsistent, right? Like both can't be true at the same time,
or intellectually dishonest.
Yeah. So, for example, you know, reincarnation and one life and then death and then the judgment and then heaven or hell, those are, you know, they both can't be true.
No,
so I kind of get where people are going at with that, but at the same time, like, who decides what's orthodox and what's not? Exactly. And then who decides what blend of certain things is true or not true?
And here's a little mantra. Here's a little mantra that's helped me a lot. Heresy is glorified hearsay. So it's all just, you know, just one person said something about something and somebody else clinged to it. And so that's the way it's going to be. We're sticking to this. And if anybody goes against it, we're just going to talk bad about them. We're going to defamate their character. It's all hearsay. It's because
let me throw something out here. Is this, you know what? When it comes to religious systems, the most intellectually honest religious system is Hinduism. Now, I'm opposed to all religion, but here's the thing about Hinduism. Hinduism has over 1 million known gods. And so some people pick their god based on their astrology. Some people pick their god based on their name. And some people choose their god simply because this god works for them. Never forget, I was working on a project, and one of the consultants I was working with, he had a picture of the monkey god on his screensaver. Now, I knew what that was because I've done some study, right? And I said, oh, the monkey god must be your god. And he said, yeah. He said, I love the monkey god because he's wise, but also funny. There's humor in the monkey god. And he that was something that he related to. So when we talk about syncretism and an amalgamation of beliefs, right?
Well,
this whole thing about Hinduism, because they choose their gods, and it's not anything that's really. Let me just say this. They don't choose their gods based on anything deep, like this God can save me, this God can rescue me, this God can fix me, this God can redeem me. They don't look at any of that stuff.
There's no soteriology in the other religions there. I mean,
exactly. And so anyway, so when I think of syncretism, according, because again, I was this year old when I learned about this. That if you are able to take multiple beliefs and hold them in the same space and give each one of them the same value, I think, this is me, I think that when it comes to religiosity, that you're probably ahead of the game. The problem is that when people get into, when they get dogmatic about what they believe, that this is the thing, this is it, and honestly, this is where I am. I don't believe that there's any one God that governs all things. I really think, and so when I think about Hinduism, I think about Hinduism as being the most intellectually honest belief system.
Well, here's the thing about that, which is really ironic about orthodoxy, because that's the other hot word tonight. Orthodoxy is this idea that there's the one God, and that you've got to get on board with that God and know exactly what that God wants, and how to praise that God, how to worship that God, and how to live by that God's standards. When even this one God that Christianity and Judaism propped up in the first place is basically an amalgamation of multiple gods that started probably with Hinduism, which is the first known religion, although there's a lot of different pagan religions before that. So give credit where credit's due. But it all started with pluralism. So this whole idea of monotheism, and we're like, well, we got this one sky God who rules over all, is not orthodoxy. That's not how it started. It started with a lot of basically small gods that became this one big God that they wanted to monopolize, put in their box, to compartmentalize it for their meanings, for what made sense to them.
Well, let's be honest. Judaism would have has never spread around the world. So what made Christianity unique was you're in generally a polytheistic society, polytheistic meaning belief
Multiple gods.
but Judaism, borrowing from Zoroastrianism, believed in one, pure, holy, loving, all light, all perfect God. If you look at the any of the gods, and I've looked at them, Celtic, Nordic, Greek, they're a mixture.
Yeah.
They're like us. They're not all good or all evil. They're a mixture of stuff, right?
Right.
So Zoroastrianism, which Judaism incubated in Babylonian captivity, which is historically accurate. So we can go back and lean on that, right? And it incubated in this dualistic Zoroastrianism where there's two gods competing, one that's all dark and one that's all light, right?
Yeah.
And so then you form this monotheism, that there's one God. I mean, the Bible doesn't teach, the Old Testament does not teach monotheism. I mean, just look at the Ten Commandments.
Yeah,
You shall have
it
no
mentions
other
other
gods
gods,
before
yeah.
them.
You
Yeah.
should not have other gods. So there are other options.
Yeah. And Judaism was just one of many options, right? But because of Constantine, because Christianity did not start with Jesus, it did not start with Paul.
Right.
It started with Athanasius and Constantine and Eusebius at the Council of Nicaea.
And I'm glad you brought up Zoroastrianism, Aaron, because there would not be Judaism, there would not be Christianity, and there would not be Islam without Zoroastrianism.
So you know what we have there, Ben, is syncretism.
Right.
Like the whole Bible, like the Jews incubated and syncretized Zoroastrian concepts, which is why you don't have a devil and you don't have demons in the Old Testament, but you have them in the New Testament.
Right. And
So
I'm glad
the Bible is full of syncretism.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up, Derrick, I'm glad that you brought up Hinduism, because that actually takes me into the next point. Buddhism is an offshoot of Hinduism.
Yes, it is.
The big difference is that they focused on meditation. They got rid of all the legalist stuff. They decided we want to focus on becoming one with the one. So basically, Buddhism is monotheism in like a different way, but it's like a one and all, one for all, Atman is Brahman. So it took like this idea of having a gajillion gods and then actually personifying it. So all of us are that God in different form. We're all manifesting the one. So, I mean, that is syncretism. They were basically, the Buddha was the Christ to Hinduism as Jesus was to Judaism, because he was teaching, I and the Father are one. I and the Supreme Mind are one. He wasn't talking about Sky Daddy. He wasn't talking about Yahweh, who apparently was all about.
But it's like I and Source are one.
Right.
Yes. So if Source, this is my contention.
Right.
Derrick and I have gone back and forth about this a lot, but we end up at the same place, I think. But my contention is that consciousness, energy, and the life principle are the beginning of all things. And so in consciousness, by, at least from the human perspective, necessitates form. But the form is not the energy itself or the consciousness itself. So in other words, I can look at Ben Urban, I can look at Derrick Day, and I can see y'all's features, right? I can see that Derrick is, he's got the beard and the long hair and the black heritage. And I can look at Ben and Ben has the best hair in the world and the beard and, you know, younger than me and whatever, but that's your form. Like eventually, Ben, you know, you're going to become old like us. You're going to be applying for AARP like us, but you're still going to be Ben. But that's the Ben I can't see. All I can see right now is your form. All I can relate to is your form. And who knows, man, where you're going to be thinking 10 years from now, right? Who knows where you're going to build on what you have now, where you're going to build on 10, 20, 30 years from now. And that may change. So what you're believing and saying right now may be totally different, like it was for Derrick and me, than what you're saying in your 30s. So, but you're still you, right? Mm-hmm. So you has a form.
Yeah.
But you transcends the form. Right?
Right.
So Derrick can post pictures of him when he was younger and better looking.
Thank you, Aaron.
Right, dude.
I was
Derrick,
better looking back then.
Derrick, I catfish people all the time with my Facebook page.
Hi.
They asked me for a picture of my job. They asked me
that was Asa. You want to say hi to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
have Asa come in and say hi.
Just say hi. Okay, come here. Come on.
Hi.
Hey. Hello.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
God, you have beautiful kids,
Great
man.
hair.
But you get my point. Like, you're the form. So consciousness isn't, or energy can take any form, right? E equals MC squared. So matter is just energy, like consolidated or slowed down, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when we're arguing about all these doctrines and beliefs and gods and goddesses and all that stuff, we're talking about what form do they take. And we mistake, I believe, this is what I believe. We mistake the map for the territory. The map is the form, the communication by which it comes. The territory is that which transcends, or that which is real behind the form, right? So I talked about being in Russia or Africa. So I had to have an interpreter. I had to use Google Translate, right? To explain the form of taking a shit. The form of taking a shit. We have different, I mean, the reality of it. We have different language for talking about it.
Yeah.
And so we're all talking about the same thing. We're all, so, oh, come on, Brittany, I'm not drunk.
Oh boy.
No, okay. This goes back to something you and I have talked about, Aaron. And this is
do I appear drunk?
No,
you're
not drunk.
You're just living the dream.
Here's the thing, right? That the reason why any of us are what we are is because there's some agreement on what we are. We have,
right.
It's like if I look behind me, this is a television. Why is it a television? At a quantum level, if Ben looks at it, it's moving at a certain velocity in a different position, and Aaron looks at it, it's a different velocity but different position, and then I look at it and it's different. But the wave function collapses at the point that we agree, right? So that's the whole thing. When I really believe that agreement may be the single most powerful concept or principle in humankind, right? Because when we look at a car, we say that's a car, or we look at a syringe, we say that's a syringe. We agree on what it is, even though each of us may see it differently. But when we agree, the wave function collapses, and now we're all on the same page.
Right.
And that's so the whole thing with syncretism, okay? That I had to look it up because I had to look at my browser because I was forgetting the word. But the thing is that syncretism, when we agree, Joe Machuda is watching, and he posted something.
Joe.
Joe posted something earlier today in the Heresy After Hours group, that said that if we all meditate at the same time, that we can achieve some great things. And I said, my counter to him was that as long as we're in different spaces religiously, we're never going to have that agreement. So what happens is that we cannot collapse the wave function into something that's meaningful and tangible. And so my contention was that as long as there is religion, there's going to be disagreement. Now, if we take away all, if we get rid of all the religion, and let's say we become syncretic on our human condition.
I love that.
That we all come together and say, okay, you're Ben, you're human. Aaron, you're human. Brittany, you're human. Sandra, you're human. William, you're human. And we're going to agree on this, and that we are going to agree on what is the best outcome for the human condition. So now we collapse the wave function into a point of agreement that says that now we can produce something that will produce change. Because like William, now I forget his name. Mashuda is what he was saying. Joe, what he was saying is that if we all meditate at the same time, but I think that it's more than that, that we have to get past the mere meditation and get to the agreement. And so the agreement is saying that irrespective of what our beliefs are, but that we say that we are in agreement that no human will go unfed, no human will go unhoused, no human will have to endure strife at the hands of their fellow man. Right. Now, if we can agree with these things, and irrespective of whether we're Christian, whether we're Muslim, whether we're Buddhist, whether we're Zoroastrianists, whether we are pagan, whether we are Wicca, that irrespective of our individual beliefs, that now we say we agree on this thing. Now, at that point, we collapse the wave function into something that is tangible, measurable, and repeatable. And at that point, with anything that is tangible, measurable, and repeatable is what we consider to be real.
Right. So Derrick, so what I'm seeing in this, like, yes, agreeing, but meditation. So meditation for me, because meditation can mean a million different things. Let's be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can do transcendental meditation. You can, do guided meditations. But for me, at the end of the day, it's about getting outside of form, getting into that, what I call a zero space.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? Like from a quantum physics perspective. So when the wave takes particle, when we agree and the wave takes form, that's form, right?
Right. The wave manifests as a particle.
Right.
It's no longer energy. It becomes something tangible. But go ahead.
Right. So when we can get an agreement among a lot of people at this zero point where we're beyond form, right? Where we're beyond form. We're in the quantum, we're in chaos theory. We're in multiple realities can take shape.
Yeah.
And we take and somehow we find that agreement together in a realm beyond form, but we're agreeing for a form, like you said, with the car or with the computer, Zoom, whatever. We agree on that. So collapses is that. Man, when we can free ourselves from form and we can come to that place together energetically and then say, okay, this is what we're creating together. We're creating a world together where where equality matters. We're creating a world together where everybody's fed, all that stuff. And we do that together, then we can collapse a form, but we can't get beyond form if we're arguing about form. And that's what this is about. Orthodoxy, right form, syncretism. We're bringing two forms together that don't belong together. I mean, so we're arguing at the level of form, which prevents us from transcending form to create what we can create as a humanity, as divinity in human skin, or whatever you want to call it, I don't care. But creating that together to form a better world.
Yes. I mean, you kind of just.
Somebody called me drunk on there, by the way, Brittany.
But seriously, wow. That was amazing.
But that's it. I think that's it. I think that's what we need to be after. I think that's what we need to be after. And so this arguing about all this stuff and getting stuck at this lower level, right? It prevents us from awakening and ascending and getting to this place where we're creators, man. And we dictate the form. We create the form. But if we're bound to the form, and that's what religion does. So orthodoxy binds me to a form. Christianity binds me to the form. It makes me less than the form.
Right. But here's the thing. When we dismiss religion altogether, now we could collapse the form into something that is agreeable to everyone.
Yeah.
Because we're above it. We've transcended it. And you can't transcend the form until you've transcended your religious beliefs.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
Shit.
I got to jump in because this takes me back to a few weeks ago when I was your unofficial guest at the end of your broadcast. And we talked about this, about how it takes one step. You just got to step beyond that fear. You just got to look beyond, you got to ask one question and then the dominoes start falling. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a negative thing, dominoes falling. It might sound bad, but it's good because it clears the way, clears the road for a wider expansion that you can actually start to grow. And that's the thing about syncretism. I think overall, that's the biggest message of syncretism is that, like Derrick was saying, religion has to go. I mean, at the end of the day, religion is too exclusive. It looks for one way, and that's the way, and you better get with it. And there's no growth in it because there's nothing new to learn. There's nowhere else to go. But but if you see beyond that and you start to ask questions, even if it's on accident. I mean, I didn't ever plan to not go down a Christian path once I was in. But then I realized, well, wait a minute. This is just one option. And it's not even that good.
It's not that good? Wait. It's not good news. It's not.
No. Watch this, right? People always say, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes into the Father but by me. Now, let me stand that statement on its head, right?
Come on.
I am is the way. I am is the way. I am is the way.
Yes.
The truth and the life.
Yes.
Then
our authentic self is the way.
Your authentic self is the way. No person comes unto source. No person perceives source. No person understands, can comprehend source without their I am.
Amen.
It's let's stop trying to externalize it and realize that everything that we need is within.
Right.
You are equipped from the factory with every fucking option you need in order to be the best version of your best authentic self.
Preach.
You are a badass just the way you are.
Exactly, Ben. You are everybody that's listening. Let me say this to you. You are a fucking badass just where you are.
Right. And that's the thing. It was brought up earlier. Aaron said, I don't know where you're going to be in 10 years, what you're going to be thinking, how you're going to be feeling in 10 years. I will say this, and I can promise it because I am dedicated to this. I'm devoted to this. This is religious for me. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to move onward and upward. I'm going to keep thinking, because that's the thing about orthodoxy. It's bullshit because the world is too expansive. The universe is too expansive. The mind is too expansive. There's too much to gain. There's too much to learn. We are lifelong students. We are eternal students. There's always something new to gain. We will never know it all. And if we think we know it all, we don't know shit, guys. We don't know anything.
No, wait. Stop.
Uh-oh.
Hold the phone. For those that don't know, I'm hanky waving, which is a tradition in especially Black Pentecostal churches. And I think Ben Urban, I just got slain in the spirit.
I'm about to be dancing in the aisle over here. Watch out.
With what you were saying, dude.
Hold on, look here. You know what? In the old school Baptist churches, that when you were preaching good, the church mothers would throw their shoes at you. Listen, or they throw peppermints at you. Listen, there's a rain of shoes and peppermints right now.
But I mean, guys, I mean that's why I specifically make a point to write in my posts, like all of my writings, I say exclusive religion, and I know like it's basically just saying the same thing twice. It's redundant, but I really want to stress that point because religion is binding. That's the point. To bind, religion is to bind.
That's what it means.
What it is. It's basically. We have this one way you're going to learn and you're going to believe this, you're going to behave this, you're going to associate with this. You're not going to hang out with people that think differently. You're not going to go out and do things that we think don't fit the standard of our way of living. And you're definitely not going to believe something that's going to cast you into the outer darkness.
Wait a second. Let me throw something out there because Ben, you just said something here, right? That the whole idea is not, listen, let me say this, that the one agreement is that I choose to be my best authentic self. Now, when I choose this and I collapse that function on me, now I begin to project outward, right? That this is my best authentic self. But I'm projecting this outward in such a way that other people catch it and they begin to collapse their own wave function. Right. And say, I'm going to be my best authentic self. And now I don't need anything external. I don't need anything that's outside. I don't need the Holy Spirit to fall on me. I don't need a Jesus to save me. I don't need a Heavenly Father to protect me. I am all I need.
Well, dude. Wait. But here's what happens. So maybe there are people that break into history, right? I mean, I know there's debate about whether Jesus was historical, and I think that debate is as much emotional as it is intellectual. Yeah. But
well,
maybe there are people.
Bart Ehrman almost got into a shouting match with Seth Andrews over the fact that Jesus did live.
You know what? I don't debate whether or not Jesus existed.
Apparently, all scholars
whether Jesus existed or not is irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But here's the thing. Jesus may have been a real person. He may have been an aggregation of, he may be a syncretism of people. Okay.
Right.
But whether or not he is somebody that we are to worship, that we are to emulate,
hell no.
that we
he
are
ran from that. Even in the Bible, he ran from anybody making him faith.
So let me make a point. Maybe there were people like Jesus, whether he's real or not, historically, that entered into human consciousness and they got it right, and they were creating from this quantum realm. They're doing absolutely everything, like what you guys are saying, both of you, is the gospel, right? Is the good
news. Real gospel, Aaron. Yeah.
And maybe they got it. And what happened was people mistook the form because humanity, to a large level, lives in the realm of form, and so they gravitated to the form. So of course we're going to worship Jesus because we're subjugated to form.
Hold that thought for just a second. Stick your head in here, man. Hey, so coming up in a couple of weeks, this guy is going to be our guest.
Is that Ducey?
That's Ducey. This is my son. Stick your head in, man.
In there so we can see you. Hey, buddy.
Hey,
Nice to meet y'all.
you too.
You know Aaron, all right?
Yeah, I already know
But
you.
you don't know Ben.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you, Ben.
Nice to meet you, Deucey.
Yeah, but this guy is a spiritual powerhouse
He
by
is.
himself. And,
Get
and
them while they're young, right? Spiritual powerhouse.
now listen, I learned from him.
Hey,
Yep.
well,
Me
that's
too.
good.
But anyway,
good.
go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, man. Like, my point is, like, most of humanity clings to the form, right? So maybe somebody like Jesus, maybe Jesus did live, but he was operating at that level that you guys are talking about. But because humanity could, well, okay, that's bullshit. Ultimately, Rome and the bishops and all that stuff, they were on a power grab.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, maybe we do gravitate towards gurus or teachers or teachings or doctrines or orthodoxy because we're hung up on form. And when in reality, what we need to do first is transcend form and realize that we are the creators of form. So if we so think about this. If agreement establishes the reality of form that we feel, that's out here, then doesn't it behoove whatever powers that may be to keep us in that locked in agreement and groupthink so they can keep their form going, so they can keep their power going, right?
Yeah.
So the moment you transcend that, the moment you get outside of that, the moment you become syncretic,
Yeah.
You got it.
you become a threat because now you're outside the form. And when you're outside the form, now you have the authority and power to transcend the form. Or I'm sorry, to reform, to reformation, to change the form, to speak to the form. You have authority over the form. We can't have that. We got to have you subjected. So this is church discipline. We have to have you subjected to the form that we've created. And if you step outside of that, then we have to shame you or somehow try to reel you back in and bring you back under the form. Because once you're out of the form, you can speak to the form and you can transform.
Right. Fear is based on paranoia. It's based on superstition. It's about shame, guilt, punishment. I mean, all that stuff. Like, they put that in your mind because they're like, hey, this is the only way we can hold on to you. It's low-level consciousness. But hey, if it grabs you for a second and you let it take over, it's almost like a drug addiction. You get in there, you start to feel comfortable. At first, it feels all nice. Oh God, it's like a new marriage. It's like, you just everything's happy and everything's go lucky and you're on your honeymoon and everything. But then you start seeing the darkness. But then you don't want to mess it up because you're like, oh, I don't want to ruin the dream. I don't know about the unknown out there. I'm afraid of the unknown because maybe there is a dangerous God out there or a monster under my bed or whatever, ready to get me.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is you just have to be brave enough to ask one question. I mean, if this God is so fucking great, then you answer my damn question.
Here's the thing.
Why can't he come and do a press conference for the world so we all know what's up?
But watch. This is why, like Aaron and I have been doing this for almost 2 years now. And I was doing it for a couple of years before that. Why Theology is so important, right? Because when you get to the point where you're no longer conformed to some paradigm, that you are able to see, okay, I can see this, I can see the value in this, I can see the value in this, I can see the value in this. And I can pick and choose what works for me. Right. And I can do this not at the expense of anyone else. I can believe this. I can manifest this. I can express this irrespective of what anyone else thinks. Now, here's the thing. This is why it's so important, right? Why your subject, Ben, is so important. Syncretism, right? That at some point there has to be a convergence of everything, right?
Right.
I'm about to speak in the terms of a nuclear reaction here.
Oh boy.
That there is a point where everything comes together, and there's a point where everything expands.
Right. And to expand, it's got to break out of form.
It's got to break out of form. It can't remain contained in this box, in this vessel, that at some point it has to get beyond that. And that's the whole point of this. When you start talking about theology, you're talking about being free from that which bound you.
Right.
And I'm gonna say something here. I've said this before, and I'm in the process of writing the sequel to Deconstructing Religion, and it's this: that at some point you have to come to the conclusion that what binds you cannot bind you anymore.
Yeah.
That as long as you agree, see, here's again, this is where the wave function collapses, right? If the wave function collapses on bondage, then this is where you're going to be. That is going to be the point in time where all the energies of your life fall and say, this is what I'm going to be. But if you allow your wave function to collapse into something that does not have any walls, does not have any guardrails, does not have any lanes, now you are truly free. And I'm going to tell you something. This is the thing. I'm going to say this, and I promise you I'm going to shut up after this.
No. Keep going if you want.
Is that what Aaron and I have been doing for the last 2 years is helping to get people beyond the boxes, beyond the guardrails, beyond the lanes, beyond the containers, and say that I am free to explore and free to aggregate, induct, or utilize that which works for me, and I am free to let go of what doesn't work. Bruce Lee Jun Fan, he said this about martial arts. He said, take what works for you and discard that which does not work for you.
You mean in the martial arts they syncretize?
They syncretize. Yes, they do, Aaron.
To become better.
To become better. And not just to become a better martial artist, but to become a better human being.
There you go. And that's the thing about it. To syncretize is to evolve, and human beings are meant to evolve because we bear the image of divinity, so we're supposed to grow.
But I'm loving this, Ben. It's like it's just to syncretize in the common understanding, the dictionary understanding is to amalgamate or to aggregate into a single point. But what you're saying in terms of syncretizing in a practical standpoint is to take what is aggregated and to expand it.
Yeah. Forms are coming together. It's like every ideology is its own universe. And when these universes are connecting, they are becoming an ever expansive universe. And they're meeting each other, and they're borrowing from each other, and they're finding what is the most abundant.
Dude, I love that.
What gives you the most life. Dude. Like, it's an organic being.
This is amazing.
Coming together out of multiple organic beings. Like maybe Hinduism they were on the right track, and something went awry when it became too much about like you got to do it a certain way, and that's why Buddhism came in and said no. we gotta remember we're all part of the one unit, and we can all become a part of it again if we just focus. And that's why you got to take exclusive religion and you got to put it on the back burner, and you got to say, hey, you know what? I might hold on to a little bit of what I gained from you. If anything, you were a stepping stone to my inclusive spirituality.
Good stuff.
Spirituality and syncretism are synonymous with each other. you are open to growing. You're open to learning new things and taking on different ideas. You trust your head and your heart agreement, which I like to think of as my conscience. It's my head and heart agreement. It's me deciding I'm taking what I'm gaining from learning, self-education, what my experiences, what I learned from other smart people who seem to get it and are really waking up, but not like following anybody religiously.
Right.
Following my own path, treading my own
stuff,
path, and getting along with others and enjoying their path and celebrating them on their road.
That's it. Celebrating.
But I know what's best for them because they know what's best for them, and I'm not going to stand in their way. I'm not saying that there's, sometimes we do things that aren't good for us. Sometimes we believe things that aren't good for us. But we have to work ourselves out of that in order to grow. We can't have anybody else tell us without some sort of incontrovertible proof that their way is better.
Yeah.
It's really, at the end of the day, it's syncretism is celebration of alternative paths. It's respecting other people. It's loving other people. It's finding a way to, okay, buddy, please. He's playing a little too loud. But basically, it's cosmic ecumenism. Cosmic ecumenism is what we're going.
Ecumenicism. See, Brittany, I'm not drunk. Brittany, you didn't have to apologize, by the way.
That is what I consider.
No idea. I have no
That is
idea
what
how
I
strong
consider.
this
That's
stuff
what I call. That's what I call the affirmation gospel. That
Great,
we have the power. We are what Jesus was saying about I am the way to real God, which real God exists in us. And that's not a sentient being. That's not some sort of figure that anybody's supposed to bow down to. It's us finding ourselves and loving ourselves and finding our best way, our most authentic way. That's what holiness, that's perfection. That's righteousness.
So being good, man. So from that perspective, Jesus, to the degree that we have him as an example, but the church orthodoxy made him the exception.
Right.
And by making him the exception,
it took away exactly what he was trying to show us all.
Exactly.
And he never was trying to make himself the example.
No. He ran when they record that he ran away when they tried to make him king. I mean, somebody who wants to be worshipped, somebody who wants everybody to think he's the hypostatic union, the only God incarnate. That's not.
Man, this has been good stuff.
Let's take a minute.
They would hold a press conference and they'd say, "Hey, this is the deal. You guys are all going to get on board with this. You know I'm God because I'm showing you."
Right.
Man, good stuff tonight.
He didn't
Really,
do that,
really
and
good
nobody
stuff.
else did.
So
nobody else told us we need to just do it one way.
We've got a shit ton of comments here.
I bet we do.
And I want to deal with some of these. Joanne says muscadines are delicious, and Sandra Whitley's having a red blend. Let's see. Let's go through here. Aaron, don't be bashful, man, because you usually help me out with these comments.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Genesis says would have joined on Restream, but we got no electricity. So he's I think Genesis is in Kenya. And let me say this. This was so funny because I was in Nigeria during a gubernatorial election season, and there was a gubernatorial candidate or a governor that was running for re-election, and part of his campaign platform that he was able to secure 85% electrical power. Do you know that if you said, if someone in the United States ran on saying, hey, I'm guaranteed 85% electrical power, they would call for his head on a platter.
Dude, that's Ron DeSantis.
Oh my God.
Or wait. He's Florida. Who's the guy in Texas?
Oh, Gregory Abbott.
Yeah, that's Governor Abbott right
Isn't
there.
Gregory Abbott a singer?
5%. That's Governor Abbott.
No, you're thinking of the other Gregory Abbott, the one that was married to Frida Payne. You know,
Yeah, what was the song?
you read my mind, girl. I wanna shake it down.
Yeah, there you go.
That Gregory Abbott.
All
But
right.
you know, but here's the thing. I got to say this about Gregory Abbott and Frida Payne, that these were two of the best looking human beings that were ever created.
Dude, I'm thinking about how Texas didn't have power for like 2
No, he's
weeks.
good.
Or some shit.
Oh yeah,
That's what
you
I'm
know,
thinking.
it's funny.
I just had the wrong governor.
Ted Cruz had posted for Easter. He said, "He is not here. He is risen." And somebody responded, "He is not here. He is in Cancun."
He's risen on a plane to Cancun because Texas has no power. All right.
Oh my God.
So somebody said, Sandra says, even the serpent has to shed the skin to transform. Great example.
That's powerful. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an
I mean,
image
that's the thing. Just the last point I want to definitely make for sure. Wherever this goes from here on out, I just want to make it abundantly clear of like what's important. The most important about this is for each one of us individually. It's that we are happier people, and we are proof of this. You guys can both vouch for it that when you awaken and you break away from that narrow, rigid view and narrow, rigid behavior and narrow, rigid associations, it's like the lights come on and it's just everything's so much brighter, and you're happier and you feel more like everything's possible, anything's possible. And my wife, I mean, she is amazing because she proves to me every day that we all have incredible amounts of power that we are just not realizing because we've allowed ourselves to be subservient to this idea that we're not good enough.
Listen, I am living in, I won't say that this is my dream home, but this is pretty fucking close, right? And you know, my debt to income ratio, everything about my life right now is 110% better now that I've ditched the whole Jesus narrative.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much. Listen, Ben, you and I talked about this briefly, but Aaron and I talk about this all the time, all the fucking time. It's like everything that I can think of is better now than it ever has been. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I was a preacher, I was a pastor who was helping people get results in the name of Jesus.
Right.
So it's like, you know, people say, oh, well, you know, you need Jesus. No, you don't need Jesus. What you need is a revelation of yourself.
Boom. Yeah. I am Derrick.
I am.
Well, I am Ben, but I am.
Yeah, Sandra Whitley says, yeah, but people aren't really the focus. It's numbers and dollar signs. Unfortunately, that's what religion is driven by. And William Albert says fear. And then our friend Kyle Butler says, what? You had questions? Oh, listen.
Oh, no. The root of question is quest. You were on a quest?
Oh my God. Oh, Aaron.
Kyle,
give me your cash app, man, so I can cash app you. I need to put the money in your plate right now.
You and Ben wait out cash app me. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something real quick? I really got to take a bathroom.
Go for it.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I have sat here as long as I can.
We don't want to redo of Russia. Just go ahead.
And whatever you do, don't grab your junk.
Yes.
Some Ukrainian or Russian may be watching. So go ahead, take your break.
All right, I'm out. I'll be back.
Mute out your screen.
Spider-Man
And-
kicked his ass. Oh wow. Yes, my son who's got a tongue on him.
So Sandra Whitley says, I'll connect the dots. I found Aaron Tomlinson through Aaron Abke. Then I found Kyle Butler and Derek Day from Aaron Tomlinson. Then Ben Urban.
The
So
six degrees of Derek Day. I guess.
No, listen, you know, this is a funny story. Aaron Abke and Kyle Butler and I did a couple of podcasts. And after we did one of our podcasts, Aaron Abke said, listen, he said, are you friends with my friend Aaron Tomlinson? And I was like, yeah, I'm friends with him. He said, you guys need to connect. He said, because you guys are on the same vibe. And so what happened was 2 years, almost matter of fact, June of this year, June of 2022 will be 2 years that Aaron and I have been doing this together. Right?
That's amazing. I can't believe 2 years has gone by.
I know, it's amazing. But I reached out to Aaron and I said, dude, listen, I'm doing this thing, Theology Friday. I think that you are the missing link. And he said, okay, you know, and he jumped in and we've been doing this ever since. And it has been an ass kicking party ever since.
Yes. Always a good time.
I got to give a shout out to my man, Craven Smith. He always, he says, shit, my crew of gnosis. Oh, man. And then Sandra Whitley says, Aaron and Derek are of the abracadabra sect. We're going to have to do a show on the word abracadabra.
Hell
because
yeah.
that word means I
speak it into
speak
meaning
it
or
and
something.
produce it or something like that.
Well, everybody needs a little more magic in their life. I mean,
Absolutely, man.
But I'm so glad we did this tonight. Like, you wouldn't believe my day. So this just totally made it.
No, I was really excited about this because Ben, I'm going to tell you something. The post that you put with your brief writings are so edifying. It causes you to think, and how Aaron and I like to say, we grow in real time.
Yeah.
That when I read your posts, I grow in real time.
Thank
Now,
you.
I want to say something here to both of you guys, that my blog now on Patheos has gone from Patheos Progressive Christianity to Patheos Non-Religious. I'm really excited about that. You know, I reached out.
I didn't even know they had that.
Listen, it was like I was writing, and the last post that I put out on Progressive Christianity was just, people were like, well, why are you even posting here? Because this is a progressive Christian, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, let me find out if I can post somewhere else. And so I'm looking forward to it, because next week I'm putting out fresh content, and I'll put it out at least a couple of times a week. But the reason why I'm mentioning this, Ben and Aaron, is because the people at Patheos reached out to me and said, hey, do you know anybody else who's writing non-religious content? So you guys are two of my favorite people who can articulate a point. So let's do this. Let's expand the non-religious.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man. I'm game.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
And Ben, you'd be awesome, dude. You
yes.
Ben,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, man, you write stuff that just freaking, dude. Like, you are a great communicator. You are a deep thinker. You are a great critical thinker.
Yes.
And you've got something to say. I
Thank
mean,
you.
people need to hear your voice.
Yes, they do.
because you're going to change lives.
Yeah.
Yes, you
I
do.
definitely feel like I am able to communicate better through writing, but I also really enjoy
Dude,
doing this.
Dude,
Off the cuffs.
you fucking blew us away tonight. Like, quit believing that lie.
Thank
Like
you.
it's not either
I gotta
or.
listen
You're
to
not.
those.
You're. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but you're not either or. You're and both.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean,
And-
for real, you can do it talking like this. You can do it writing. Don't say, you may prefer one because of your temperament or whatever, but the way you communicated tonight, like, I mean, you have to just you and Beth go to a Kojic church for like a month.
What's a
Yeah.
Kojic church?
Church of God in Christ. It's a black folks church.
It's a black Pentecostal church. And
Yeah.
you'll see Hanky waving, and I don't Hanky wave unless it is blowing my socks off.
But Aaron, if he were to tell his story, he would say, I was born a poor black preacher.
No. I'm just saying, dude, like there, and we've talked about this. I've talked about this with Derrick, that there is just something in the black church community that inspires me.
Yeah.
And when I get really inspired, and I'm telling you, you got the goods, man. You just need to maximize everything that you have. Everything, not just your writing, your speaking, everything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I am compiling for a book, so I mean, I guess I can start proofreading and editing and all that, but I just keep writing.
Yeah.
So I got to find a stopping point.
If you write a book, I'm sure either Aaron or myself will gladly write the foreword for you. No problem.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you.
Get Derrick to do it because he's already published.
I'll be the first person ever with 2 forwards in that book.
No, get Derrick to do it because he's published. But get on Pathos for real, man.
Yeah, I'll get I can refer you to the lady at Pathos who manages that.
Okay.
And dude, if you want to write, we'll make it happen.
Yeah,
we'll make it happen.
Because with publication and everything, that's like my only concern. Like I don't know how to go about that, which would be the best.
Now, listen, when you're ready to write a book, let me know, because there are a couple of venues, a couple of avenues that we can pursue. But the one thing is, I was really excited about having you on tonight because of the person you are, your ability to articulate your point, and dude, you've exceeded my every expectation. You need to be on Facebook Live way more often than you already are.
Yeah, I agree. I think you'd do both.
Yep.
All right.
And so whatever I could do to facilitate that, I'm going to do it.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, you're just, man.
Dude, this was savage tonight. This was
you guys don't even understand like how much of an honor it is for you guys to ask me to be a guest. And I'm like, I think only your second or third guest ever. So I feel like, wow, that's
Ben, it was savage, man. It was
that's
awesome.
really, I mean, it's really means a lot, So
No, I mean it's like and I don't want to compare anybody, but it's like we had Daryl Carlson on, and Daryl was awesome,
Yes,
Yeah.
But
Well, Daryl's awesome.
Yeah, but you've been awesome. I mean, honestly, and man, I'm really disappointed that not that more people aren't trying to join the conversation. We've got some. Oh, Sandra Whitley says she could proofread your book for you.
Oh,
So you got some more helpers.
all right.
Sandra says, "Do you feel better?" Do you feel better, Aaron Tomlinson? So I don't know. Brittany said I was drunk earlier. I probably was. I don't know what the proof on this thing was. I didn't make it. And yeah, I had to.
I think you're just in good spirits, Aaron. I think that's all.
Let me tell you this, right? The strength of this show is really the profanity and the booze.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
give
it's
a,
like-
who cares? I hope I was. I mean, who
Listen,
cares?
I'm going to tell you something. I say this all the time. Aaron Tomlinson is one of the smartest people I know. He is one of the single most intelligent, sentient, salient people that I know, right? So I'm really blessed to be able to share this forum with him. But it's like, you know, I think that booze just makes it funny. That's all.
It does, man. It makes it better.
I feel like both of you have really set a bar for me. I'm just like trying to reach that. But
no, dude, you came with the thunder.
Yeah, you did.
And here you were thinking, oh, syncretism. I don't know how much mileage we
get
can
like
get
5 minutes out of that.
Hold on, listen. This is officially the longest Theology Friday that we've done.
It is.
We are beyond the 2-hour mark.
So understand, my wife works on Friday nights, so the boys are upstairs burning down the house.
Oh boy.
Just imagine, Ben, 5 years from now, Beth is working on a Friday night and you're talking to these fools. Nah, this is great, man. Derrick, I think what we have is great. And Ben, you
Home
took us
run.
to another level tonight. Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your voice. I'm excited about your future and what you have to share. And again, I just want to say this to you. Don't demean your communication gift in any way. You're a good speaker. You're good on live. You're good in interviews. You're good at writing. And you're going to change lives.
Yeah, and dude, you're fucking good looking and you have amazing hair.
Yeah, which puts you way ahead of me and Derrick.
Yeah, no, it's like, you
Sorry,
know,
Derrick.
Actually, Aaron, you're better looking than I am, but we have to plow a little bit,
Dude,
you know, because we're old guys.
Our best looking days are behind us. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, it's like our sexy days are behind us, but Ben, you're still in the sweet spot.
You got the sex appeal. And you bring Beth in there. You bring Beth in there, and you guys are a power couple, man.
Oh my God! You know what? Honestly, let me say this.
Shame, so.
Before we go, where's Beth? Is Beth still nearby?
Oh, she's got a friend over, so they're hanging out.
Oh, she got a friend over. Ah, damn it. Okay, because I have this idea, right, Aaron? I wanted to share this with you, and I'm going to share this openly.
Sure.
You know, let's do like a ladies' night thing, where the ladies kind of take over and run things, and you and I just kind of ride shotgun on this. You know,
that'd be awesome.
I'm sorry, Asa was talking to me about something.
That'd be cool.
We're talking about having a ladies' night, and basically the ladies run things. And we just kind of sit back and ride shotgun.
Hey, so how about this, Derrick? How about religion from a woman's perspective?
Ooh.
Oh boy.
And just let them run wild.
Hold on for a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be.
All right, man. I'm gonna have to sign off.
Yeah, I gotta order some food or something, man.
Yeah, me too.
You know where
you got 2 for the price of 1 tonight.
What's that?
You got 2 for the price of 1 tonight. Here's Luca. He just woke up.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Does that mean he's gonna be up till 3 in the morning?
I hope not.
Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. I gotta tell you, my kids are in the pre-teen stage now, you know, my boys, and dude, I'll sit there and grieve those times right there. Wow. Like they're not even left the house, and I'm just like grieving. I'm like, I can see why people have children again when the oldest is like 10, 11, because you miss those days, man.
You know what? It's like my youngest one is 16, and he's 6'5" and 300 pounds. I remember when I held this guy in my hands like this.
Wow.
You know, and I always tell people that between the ages of 0 and 5, that time is magic. Drink it like fine wine, because once it's gone, one day you'll wake up and your kids, especially if you have boys, they're going to be these big, hairy, smelling fuckers running around your house, eating up all your food, and you're gonna be like, what happened here?
Let
This
me
was
just
my
say,
baby.
can I say they become smelly before they become hairy?
Listen, I already listen. I know. I was like,
Derrick knows exactly what
oh
I'm
my
talking
God.
about.
It's like, my oldest
That's
son,
fun.
I think he was like 8 years old, and he was starting to get funky. And I'm like, and so I'm thinking to myself, I said, this is what they mean when they say they smell themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, brothers. I gotta
Hey.
peace out, man.
All right, so Aaron, I'm gonna let you close us out the way you do, because
Thank you for the honor, sir. Thank you for the honor, sir. Peace and hair grease.
Yeah.
Damn straight. Piece of hair grease.
All right.
All right.